Okay, so one of the things I look for when I'm buying a frame is how thick it is and the material it's made out of. And you can see this is pretty thick, at least down here, and this one also comes with a yoke. So, you know, just something to keep an eye out for when you're buying the cheaper machines. You know, I tend to like the way the metal looks and darker things. So, you know, this is a nice little design, but to me it's really cheap. You know, look, it's not even on there all the way. It's just held on by these little rivets. So I'm going to take that off, so I just get this metal. And it came with these coils, but I have these nice black coils from another machine that I'm going to switch them out, 8-rat coils. And you can see I put a rubber band around these, couple of rubber bands. The reason being is if I keep messing with this without a rubber band on it, I'm going to end up breaking this wire, and I'm either going to have to fix it or toss out these coils. So that, and I just leave the rubber band on there, and eventually it'll break off and I'll throw it away. But while I'm messing with it, it's good to have that on there. Took that piece off of there. I like it better this way. Still has a little design there, but it's not shiny. It's more subdued, more the way I like it, the way I want it to be. Here is a magnet. So this is the frame. Here's a magnet. Nothing. Nothing at all. You would think maybe that's not a magnet. Maybe he's playing a joke on me. No. Just showing that the frame itself is not magnetic. And in that case, you would need a yoke. See? Now, the yoke, what it's going to do is make sure that when you have your cores, it's kind of like you have one magnet here and one magnet here. So if you put your yoke down there so that it's touching your cores, instead of having two weak magnets, you have one horseshoe magnet. This metal, just one thing I need to check before I switch the cores out, this metal is the same as this metal is the same as this metal, or as close as we can get to it, so we're good. See all the little stupid bare wire sticking out, and that really irritates me. I want to make sure that it doesn't short my machine out. There's the other little wire sticking out through there. So what I'm going to do is take window and door silicone. This is clear. This is really cheap solution. You buy this for a couple of bucks at Lowe's. So what I'm going to do is, I don't want to get it down into my core here, but I just want to cover that wire. And this is also going to keep water and other nasty stuff out of here. keep it from rusting. But I'm just going to do a little smooth layer all the way around, and once I get that done, this dries really quick, so I'll let it dry and then I'll stick it back on the machine, and that'll keep it from shorting out. Okay, I put my different coils back on, 8-wrap coils. You can see the silicone I put on there. I'm touching that right now. It's already rubberized. It's not making a mess or anything like that. That's why it's so great. I just put the washers back in here that were already there. The coils are the same size as the other coils, so I don't even want to mess with the washers right now and shimming this to make sure that this is the correct height. The rear binding post I need to connect, but this is the rear binding post that came with it, and this is the one I'm going to replace it with. I'm going to put my front binding post on, and this was the old one, and I'm going to change it out with a nice chunky one. Here's a penny again. The reason why I'm putting that back here is because I'm cheap and I don't want to go buy a square washer. This washer cost me a penny, so that's why I'm using that. But see, I cut it flat, and the one that came with it is one of these cheap round ones, and that's going to change the point where your spring moves from. Flat ones are better, or if you're cheap, cut a penny, drill a hole in it, put it on there. Now I'm going to attach this and make sure that my front binding post lines up. Okay, I got my armature bar back on, and I made sure that it lined up with my front post and my contact screw. I made sure that I had a gap back here between my armature bar and my rear coil, and one light. All this is a tube that you can throw away. I pulled the grip off of it, flat tip, and I notched the end of it here, and what that allows me to do is stick it in my tube vise and run it up to the nipple on the armature bar and make sure everything lines up that way. So when I put a needle in there, it'll go in the middle of the tube. And I didn't have to buy that. They sell a tool for that. Well, I did technically buy it, but recycled materials for that. Okay, now let's hook it up and see how it runs. About 5. Not loaded, so I'm just gonna leave it there at 5. Okay, let me turn that off. Cycles per second was 120 and duty was 60. So these are the springs that came on it and the armature bar. which I'm going to keep the armature bar, but I'm going to switch these springs out to what I like and try to get that duty to around 50.